I really appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell me about the Grand Giving campaign that kicks off this weekend.
So Grand Giving in the month of November, of course it's the month of Thanksgiving, but the exciting part about it is everyone's in a giving mood and there's some that have and some that don't. And one of the big initiatives that we do is to help fight food insecurity. And here in Chicago, my hometown, we have some great organizations that help try to provide meals for families that don't know where their next meal is coming from, such as the Greater Chicago Food Depository, the Northern Illinois Food Bank, and one of our partners, Mariano's. So throughout the entire month of November, while you're shopping, getting things for your Thanksgiving, your holiday parties, all those different things you can think about, you can donate at the register. $1, $3, $5. And if you can't make it to Mariano's, you can donate on our website, grandgiving.org. And all the proceeds benefit those two food banks, the Food Depository and the Northern Illinois Food Bank, to help provide meals to families in need.
Curtis, what I love about that is 44 Mariano's, okay. But what I love is whether it's $1, $3, $5, anything to help your fellow Chicagoan.
Anything can help. And you and I remember back in the school days here in the south side of Chicago, there was always a canned food drive. And the first thing you do is open up the cabinet, reach in the back. All right, we're not eating this. Pull this to the back. It's probably expired. The can might have puffed up, and then we would donate it. It was all a great cause, again, because most of those canned items were non-perishable, so therefore they could be used. But what the food bank and and the Greater Chicago Food Depository is able to do with just $1, they can purchase in bulk. So they can get fresh food items. They can get fresh canned good items. They can also get health supplies like diapers and formula and all those different things. So that's why the importance of just that $1 really is impactful, because it goes to the group that can truly do a lot with it to help those that need it.
On behalf of all the Chicagoans, thank you. You've been doing it since 2013. This isn't like the first year.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to you?
It's important for a couple reasons. My parents taught in CPS just like your mom taught. And I always remember my mom talking about there were certain students that didn't come to class for a period of time, but she knew they would be there on Monday. I was like, how do you know they're gonna be here on Monday? She goes, because at school, they get their breakfast and their lunch. And the fact that they've missed, I know they haven't ate, they will be in class on Monday. Not realizing the importance of what she was saying at that time, I fast forward to now I'm a college student, now I'm a professional baseball player, now I'm just moving around doing things. And we got the great Snickers commercial. When you get hangry, you haven't had that meal, you missed breakfast, you missed lunch, and you just start to stress a little bit. And I started thinking back to that conversation and go, okay, that kid missed breakfast, lunch, dinner for days in a row. How important and how different could that child's life be just by having something to eat? And it also impacted on some of the things that we do as we get kids out to the facilities at UIC, at the stadium, for different camps and clinics throughout the year. We've had the lunch bus program for the Greater Chicago Food Depository come out and hand out free lunches. One kid gets in line, he grabs his lunch, he goes, hey, can I grab another one for my brother? He couldn't make it. And I said, sure, no problem. He goes, yeah, this will be his lunch for today. And again, you just don't realize how for granted we take being able to have a meal. Open up that cabinet when they ask for that canned food drive and know there's food in there, and there's a lot of people that don't have that.
The Cardinals' Kevin Beacham is going to have a little competitive deal with you this year. Tell me about it.
I never got a chance to play football. Dad said I was too little, but I did play flag football.
Yeah.
And Calvin, he comes from having to have dealt with food insecurity, he himself. Now he's in the NFL. He's playing with the Arizona Cardinals. He's doing things with the food pantries in that city and state where they're going to try to, again, raise funds. So him and I have worked on a couple things, have put our story out there to try to get more attention to it. And he said, you know what? We actually have some things scheduled in around the month of November. Again, I didn't play football, but the Bears in my hometown are playing against your Arizona Cardinals on November 3rd. Let's see if we can drum up a little competition to kick off that day. Of course, we know a lot of Chicagoans travel to Arizona, one, to follow the Bears, two, just for vacation home. So they're going to be out there loud and proud and ready to go Bears and ready to try to pick up a victory on the field. But also we're going to bring attention to food insecurity. His initiative is going to be raising money. My initiative is going to be raising money. Of course, you can do it at Mariano's. Of course, you can do it on our website. We'll have his website posted as well. And we'll see at the end of November who has raised the most funds. I got to put it on the baseball side.
I love
we
it.
Got to.
But everyone's a winner in something like
course,
that.
You know, anytime you can get involved and help. And I always like using competition because it just makes it so much fun and exciting. When I do a camp and a clinic, parents come, so what are the kids going to learn? We're going to do so many fun activities where they're going to compete. And after they compete, they're going to go, I want to do it again. Those are the types of things I enjoy doing. Like we may have a race, and at the end of the race, the losers have to do 10 push-ups. And once that happens, I want to do it again. So for this, I'm not sure if there will be a loser, like you said. So the only good thing is hopefully we set the bar so high that when we get a chance to do it again, that's the number we're trying to accomplish.
Curtis, you're a Chicago guy, man. You grew up in Blue Island, went to TF South, Curtis Granderson Stadium at UIC, had a terrific baseball career at UIC. How important is it for you to be giving back here in Chicago?
The biggest thing is that kind of like bio you gave, right? I'm not sitting here if it wasn't for all those steps along the way. Being born in Blue Island, lived in Cal Park, then lived in Linwood, went to TF South High School, played Linwood Little League, Lansing Little League, got a chance to go to UIC. My roots are all baked into here. That's where I got my education. That's where I got a chance to get introduced to the sport. That's where I got a chance to get drafted into the sport. And every off season, I would come home to Chicago. So everyone's like, why don't you go to Florida? It's warm. Why don't you go to Arizona? It's warm. It is warm, but it's not home. Chicago's home. And I was able to do everything I needed here in Chicago to allow me to have the career I did. So because of that and all those different individuals and entities and the city itself that helped make me the individual I am today, this was the place I was going to give back to with Grand Giving and the other initiatives that we have going.
I love it. Mom, as you said, was a teacher. Dad was a dean,
Yeah.
correct?
And also teacher for part of it too.
What did they teach you that you still use today as a father?
The biggest thing that I always just loved watching them is they were so welcoming. They treated everyone the same. It's the golden rule. Treat them how you want to be treated. But the biggest part about it was there was such a diverse group of individuals around them. Old, young, big, small, light, dark, and they made everybody feel comfortable. You were always invited over. If you want something to eat, here's a plate. Do you need a ride to and from? If I outgrew things, they would take those clothes to school and pass them on to kids that they knew that could wear them and go from there. I'd also get some of this stuff sometimes. Hey, here's that. And then they also put me to work. My mom would bring home her graded papers and things and sit me down. I'd have to grade some of those papers. And then my dad, because I was in school in the suburbs, the CPS and the suburban school systems didn't line up. So if I was out for the year, I still had about a week and a half of the CPS season. So they wouldn't let me stay at home by myself at 6, 7, 8 years old. So I would go to school with my dad for another 2 weeks of school, and he would throw me in a classroom. So I'd have another week of math, another week of science. Then I'd get to go to the gym and play basketball a little bit and run around. But it was all those things and just watching how people lit up when they saw my mom and saw my dad. And I wanted to make that be a part of me. Like, I wanted you to feel comfortable. I wanted to be welcoming. I wanted to show that although my title was a baseball player, it was no more important than anyone else's job title. It's a job I had. You have a job. People that are operating these cameras in this building have a job. None of them are more important than the other ones. And that's how I saw my parents treat others, and that was the biggest thing that stayed with me.
You just got finished working on the ALDS and the ALCS for TBS.
Yes.
You enjoying the TV work?
It's fun. I get a chance to now sit back and watch it and then tell you what just happened and tell you what I think is going to happen. And it's been cool. I got a great cast. I mean, this year we brought Dusty Baker on board. I've had Jimmy Rollins and Pedro Martinez and Lauren Shahadi, who is absolutely amazing in terms of the amount of things she does. She's in New York. She's here with us in Atlanta. She's back and forth. and she is as sharp as a tack with her stuff on baseball, but she keeps us in line, and we go out there and we just have fun watching the game, and then we get off set, the screens are up, we're ordering food, we're talking, we're having stories, and it's just so great to hear Dusty talk, to hear Pedro talk. Jimmy and I have a bunch of conversations we add in where we can, and with the Turner Studios, it's also basketball season, so the NBA guys come in. It's NHL season, so the NHL guys come in. And I'm sitting there and go, that's Wayne Gretzky, that's Charles Barkley, that's Shaquille O'Neal, that's Vince Carter. And they come up and shake my hand like, I'm so excited about that part of it. And oh yeah, I gotta watch what just happened on this game right here. So that part of it has just been so cool to be a part of and see.
Man, you played for 7 teams in your career, but you didn't get to play for the Cubs or White Sox.
Never got a chance.
Did you
to come
want
home.
to?
I wanted to at the end. The excitement and the hype to do it at the beginning was there. I would have been exhausted. I would not have been able to handle it. For the 3-game series when we would come in town to play the White Sox or the Cubs, they were the most fun and exhausting series of the season for me. I'd have so many ticket requests and meeting people for lunch and dinner and breakfast and hanging out and doing all these things. I would fall asleep from Guaranteed Rate to Midway Airport. So we know how close that is.
Sure.
And as soon as I would get in that bus, I'm like, wow, my body was just run down. But it was a great time to be here and enjoy it. But if I would have played in Chicago for the Cubs or the White Sox early in my career, it would not have been a good thing. Towards the end, all my friends and family have seen me play. They kind of understand the routine. I had a better control of it. I knew how to say no now, finally. And I think it could have been doable at the end.
Are you following what the White Sox are up to? They're in search of a new manager.
Yep.
What do you think?
I definitely think that there's a couple things that need to be considered there. One, you got to see what the candidates are, and you also got to get an understanding of what has happened. This team was in the playoffs a few years ago. There were a lot of All-Stars on this team. There was a great fan base. Even this year, they still averaged, I think it was about 15,000 fans. There was money spent, and it didn't go well, and it went extremely bad. What happened? So trying to figure that piece out, I think, in addition to searching for a manager, is key, because you also can't have a manager come in and say, fix this, if we don't know what we're fixing. So I think that's part of it that's going to need to be in there. A vocal voice, not necessarily the person that's going to yell and scream and, all right, we got extra practice and we're doing this and we're doing that, but just a voice, and also somebody that can distribute and let the team of leaders lead. You also have to have the right personnel on the team that can do that. And it may be there. I don't know. They may not have had the control to do it or the comfort or confidence to do it. But I think those two things are key. Someone who has the ability to be vocal when needed, but also distribute to the team to let them handle some of the stuff that's necessary. Because now you can't call a meeting every day. You just don't have the time to do it. It's not efficient. It's not going to be effective. You call your meetings when you need to, and those meetings have to be impactful and important. The team has to police itself. But if there's not the right people on that team that can do it, then we have to address that piece as well.
You are so good at delivering your message. You played the game at the highest level. Why not you?
The season, the time is so interesting. It's funny, I got rumored as being the manager before the last manager was hired.
Grady Sizemore?
Before that one.
Okay.
And
before Pedro Grifol.
Before Pedro. And I get these messages, hey, congratulations. I was like, congratulations on what? You're up for the managerial job. I said, I am. I didn't know I was interested in this position. But things get floated out there, throw to see. 1, are you interested? 2, how is the media and or the fan base going to respond? The same thing happened with me with the Mets before they brought on their current manager. And towards the end of my career, I remember going to get breakfast in a city. It's about 11:30. And I'm getting in the elevator, and my manager for the Mets, Terry Collins, Ricky Bonas, Dick Scott, and another one of our staff members are in the elevator. And I go, oh, are you all going to eat too? Where are you going? I'll join you. They go, no, we're going to the stadium. I thought they changed the game time. I knew the game was at 7. I go, you're going to the stadium at 11:30? They're like, yeah, we got to go do our notes, and we got to work out, and we got to do this, and we got to do that. And then the games are finishing at 10, whatever, the bus is at 11. I go, wait a minute, that's a 12-hour day. I don't want to do that. And then I remember talking to a general manager, and he said, if you want to manage, be prepared to commit February 15 to October 15, 12 hours a day. And I said, yeah, that's not what I want to do just yet. However, I would like to, I think I do have some information that could assist the team. If there's ways that you need some guidance and information, I feel like there's things I know, I've been around, I can help, I can point people in the right direction. I don't know it all, but I know some people to do. That side of things I would enjoy. And especially here in Chicago, I didn't play for either Chicago team, so I'm completely neutral.
Yeah.
I've been in big markets, I've been in small markets. I live here, so I have that connection, but it wasn't like I came up through the system and I've been taught a certain way. I'm completely removed, so I'm a fresh voice. So if any of those opportunities are potentially there, that's something I'd consider.
Let me give you a wrap-up because there's been discussion. I know that Jerry Reinsdorf would love to build a new stadium, ballpark, at the 78 off of Roosevelt Road. If he doesn't, there is the chance that he could move the franchise potentially to Nashville. As a Chicago guy, how does it make you feel?
As a Chicago guy, starting with the first part, I definitely think change is a good thing if it's seen as all the potential that's there. For example, the Atlanta Braves at Old Turner Field had their stadium where it was located. Great place to play. Outside of the stadium, not much there. They relocate to now Truist Park. And if you haven't been to Truist Park, it's an amazing place to spend the day. Notice I didn't say go to a baseball.
The neighborhood.
The neighborhood is amazing. You can have breakfast there, you can shop, you can work out, you can go to the bar, and oh yeah, there's a baseball game going on. I have tickets, do you want to go? And I can live here, I can stay here, I can do all that stuff in this area. Who won the game? I don't know, but that was great. I want to do that again. From that standpoint, I love the idea of them considering a new stadium at the 78 as a potential spot with all that stuff that comes around it. You think about how iconic and exciting Wrigley Field is and the area around it. That on the south side would be amazing. And I think that is something that could definitely help and could be needed with what Guaranteed Rate currently has or its new situation is. If they don't get that, now we move. I think because Chicago is the third largest city, because the White Sox were one of the original baseball teams, both not only with the Negro Leagues, but also Major League Baseball, to lose a team and a franchise like that would definitely be disappointing. So I hope there's a lot of stuff done between now and whenever that decision is made to do whatever they can to try to keep the stadium here and look to add all those exciting things. It's great to have it be a year-round destination because you can just do so many things. And oh yeah, it just keeps bringing eyeballs to it. What's that? What's that? That's where they play baseball. Oh, I've never been. Can I go to a game? I want to see what it's like. Are they good? Are they bad? Who do they play? What do they do? Oh yeah, the food's good in there. It's just all those different things that can, again, help boost the game, boost the fan base, which I'm excited for.
Thanks, man.
Thank
Great
you.
to see you. Thanks
Good
for
to see
staying.
you. Thanks for having me.
Coming by.